Hello Mila, hello Jack. Hello everybody else who's watching. Welcome to Storytime with Grandad. Today's book is from Captain Pugwash and it's The Stowaway Sheep. Captain Pugwash was feeling very pleased with himself. Last night he'd led a daring attack on the Flying Dustman, the ship belonging to Cutthroat Jake, his oldest and meanest enemy. While Cutthroat Jake's men were sleeping, Captain Pugwash and his crew had crept aboard and stolen a treasure chest full of gold coins. Pugwash was so pleased he gave each of his crew a gold coin. Willy had spent his gold coin at Portobello Market on what he thought was a very funny-looking dog. He proudly put his new pet on a lead and returned to the harbour. "No animals allowed on the ship by order of the captain," said the mate, "so get rid of that sheep." "It's not a sheep, it's a dog," said Willy. "His name is Rover." The mate shook his head and left. "Don't worry," Jonah whispered to Willy. "I'll help you sneak him aboard." From high up in the crow's nest, Tom the cabin boy had spotted a sail in the distance. "Captain," he called, "it's the Flying Dustman." "Nonsense," said Pugwash. Then he looked through his telescope and saw the enemy's ship. "Blundering bloaters! Hoist the anchor, raise the sails, all hands on deck," he cried. Soon the Black Pig had left the harbour and was sailing out to sea. "We've given Jake the slip again," said Pugwash proudly. Tom was not so sure. "He could be hiding on the other side of Cutlass Island and planning an attack," he said. "Tottering turtles," said Pugwash. "I've just had a thought. He could be hiding on the other side of the island. Keep a lookout, Tom." Tom smiled. "Aye, aye, Captain," he said. On board the Flying Dustman, Cutthroat Jake was making plans to surprise the crew of the Black Pig. "We'll wait until it's dark. He's far away from help," chuckled Jake. "Then we'll attack." Duck, Swine and Sinker cheered loudly. "And then," growled Jake, "we'll show Pugwash the horrible things that happen to people who steal my treasure. Ha ha ha!" Pugwash and his crew had forgotten about the Flying Dustman. They were getting ready for a good night's sleep. The mate climbed into his hammock. "Oh no," he cried, "it's that sheep." He had found Rover, who was hiding under the covers, chewing on his nightcap. "He's a dog," squeaked Willy, but no one took any notice. "The captain will be cross if he finds an animal on the ship," said the mate. "We must hide him quick." But Rover had other ideas. When the crew tried to grab him, he bared his teeth and lowered his head, ready to attack. Willy, Jonah and the mate took one look at Rover's sharp horns. "Run!" they cried, and bolted into a cupboard. There they huddled together in the dark, while Rover butted the door. Pugwash came up on deck to search for Tom. "Where's my bedtime cocoa?" he called. But Tom was nowhere to be seen. Instead, Pugwash found himself face to face with a very angry sheep. "Shivering sharks," said Pugwash. He forgot all about his bedtime cocoa and ran below deck, closely followed by Rover. The captain headed straight for the cupboard and threw himself in, landing on top of his crew. "Help!" cried Willy, Jonah and the mate, thinking it was Rover. "Make room!" shouted Pugwash. While this was happening, the Flying Dustman had caught up with the Black Pig. Jake and his crew swung aboard. "Ah, the Black Pig's mine now," bellowed Jake. "And first of all, I'm going to find my treasure and steal it back." Jake stomped below deck to Pugwash's cabin. With a roar, he smashed down the door and was surprised to find that the room was empty except for Tom. "Where's Pugwash?" roared Jake. Then he heard a sound coming from the captain's bed. "I wouldn't look in there if I was you," said Tom. But Jake had already ripped the curtains apart. He was sure he would find Captain Pugwash cowering in a corner. He got a great shock when he saw a sheep there instead, chewing on some carrot tops. Jake roared more loudly than ever, and Rover went wild. He launched himself at Cutthroat Jake. Jake panicked and dashed up onto the deck to join his crew. Rover charged after them. Duck, Swine and Stinker were so confused that they followed Cutthroat Jake as he fled from the sheep. "Help!" they all cried as they ran round and round the deck. But there was nowhere they could escape except overboard. "Ah!" With a cry, Duck, Swine and Stinker and Cutthroat Jake leapt into the sea. Splash! The ugly crew struggled in the water, yelling and cursing with rage. Tom opened the cupboard door, and Captain Pugwash, Jonah, Willy and the mate landed in a heap at his feet. "It's just a stuttering starfish," said Pugwash. "Where have you been?" "Cutthroat Jake and his crew came aboard," Tom explained. "But it's all right now, thanks to Rover." Then he told them the whole story. While Cutthroat Jake and his crew were splashing around in the sea, Pugwash and his crew helped themselves to the rest of the treasure on the Flying Dustman. Afterwards, Captain Pugwash held a party to celebrate. "Congratulations, everyone," he said. "I had it all planned from the start." Of course, Pugwash's speech came to a sudden end when he heard a loud bleat from the doorway. "Help!" shouted Pugwash and his crew, and they leapt onto the table and clung together, trembling with fear. Tom was the only one who wasn't scared, but then he had discovered how to keep Rover as gentle as a lamb by feeding him plenty of carrot tops. The end. Goodbye, Mila. Goodbye, Jack. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.